Yeah, so Big Sky Summit matchup, a little challenge. Does that add a little more fun than just a normal game?
Absolutely. We understand that this is kind of a little bit more important, but yeah, it was definitely fun from the beginning.
Yeah, Chase, you had 15 points in the second half. What was the message, coming out of halftime?
Pretty much just get downhill. I knew if I would get downhill, it would create more options for either me to score, pass it to Cam, get the shooters open. So yeah.
Yeah, a lot of tough buckets, finishing at the rim, 8 for 9 from free throws. What does that say about your game?
Uh, self-explanatory. I love to get downhill, love to draw fouls. Yeah.
Cameron, obviously a big matchup down low. You held him to 1 point in the paint. What does that say about your defense?
I just know that I'm looking more to be a physical defender in the post and not really let much up. So I knew coming in that he was another bigger matchup and everything. So I just had that mentality of holding him in the post and not letting anything get by me.
And then you guys had 5 double-digit scorers today. Again, displaying the depth. What does that say about your team going down the road?
Everyone eats. Everyone gets involved. Everyone eats, man.
It's a lot of games we have that it's just nice to be able to know we sharing the ball and that anybody can have their night.
How does this build momentum going into your guys' next game?
Confidence. We just beat a Big Sky team. We got another one on the road. So yeah, this definitely builds some confidence going into the next game.
Awesome. Appreciate it, guys.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Really good win against a very good team. I know their record doesn't really show that, but they've played a lot of really good teams. Arizona State was a one-possession game with a minute left. USC, same thing, one-possession game with under a minute left, and they beat San Diego. So it's a team that was number 2 in the net, right, for the Big Sky based on who they played and how well they played. So I'm really proud of our team. I thought we got off to a great start and just kind of controlled the game. I know they kind of came back at the end and made a few shots or whatnot, but it always felt like we just absolutely controlled the game, and that's a sign that our team is getting better. Had certain guys play well. We're finally shooting the ball better, and that's one thing you just kind of got to stick with, right? Hey, it's going to figure itself out. One of our emphasis was taking better shots. Some of the shots we were taking just weren't very good shots, and our percentages were very low. And then I'm happy because we finally got a few days just to practice, which when you play how many games to start the season, and then you have a little bit of a break, and then you have games again, and just they're all jam-packed in there. It's hard to come back to practice and just work on yourself. And we finally got some time to do that, and I think it really helped us offensively. Our defense has been a little bit further along than our offense. It really helped us offensively play with more pace and create more possessions because we're running on makes and misses as well. So credit to Idaho State, good team, very tough team, gave up 20 offensive rebounds and won by 14. So when we fix a few things moving forward, we're going to keep getting better.
Yeah, it was a big battle down low. How impressed were you with Cameron's game, especially to not commit a foul the entire time?
Yeah, well, sometimes it's not a good thing. It might look like it's a good thing, but sometimes you got to be more aggressive, right? On those rebounds, go over somebody's back and try to get one. Cam's a mature kid. He's a mature player. I think he's got a really high IQ, understands angles, understands what he can get. He's got to be a force for us inside every single game, right? And he's got to continue to get better. But proud of him, very physical guy, and against a team like that, they're going to be one of the most physical, strong, like their upper bodies just look really strong, really physical team. That might be the most physical team that we see.
Yeah, early on they had a possession with 6 offensive rebounds, I think. What was the message to kind of get your team back on track?
All right, I'm just kidding. The message was we got to keep going with it, right? I put on the board before the game, I actually put it wrong, but corrected it. Sometimes you lose the battle, but you still can win the war, right? And you got to try to win the war and just keep going over. And we always say the battle of the boards. To me, it's the war on the glass, right? It's every single possession. You might lose some. You might give up 6. I'm not sure I've ever seen that before in coaching. But I don't know how many second chance points do they have, 14? With 20 offensive rebounds. So they didn't quite make us pay like some teams have, but the message was just keep going, right? There was a couple of possessions where we had 4 guys surrounding one Idaho State player, and they're on the right side of the basket because when the ball's shot on the right side, it goes off to the left, so they're on the correct side. And we had 4 guys around one. There was one guy that jumped. It was their team, and they got the rebound, right? So you just got to stay positive, and the film piece when we come in tomorrow is really, really important, because when teams see that, they're just going to start sending more guys to the glass, honestly. So, but the message is just keep going. Just keep going with it.
Yeah, Chase had 15 points in the second half. How important is that for your team's fast start coming out of that halftime?
Really important. I think if you watched the last game against Nebraska, there were some fans maybe that were surprised that he didn't start the second half, and I didn't think he was very good in the first half. And I can say this because we've talked about this. As a senior point guard, it doesn't have anything to do with offense, right? There was a quote by Donovan Mitchell with the Cavs, and he talked about some guys, they base how they play on if they're making shots. And he said that's a definition of being a front runner, right? Where if things are going well offensively, now it's oh, I'm good, everything's great. Now, we have to have that flipped, where when things are going great defensively for us, that helps us make shots, right? And I didn't think Chase was at the level that he needed to be at defensively, especially with our press and as our starting point guard. And we just said, Chase, this has to change. We're almost 10 games in, and if it doesn't change by 10 games, we got to figure something out. And he responded great, which I would expect a senior point guard to do. Chase came here to win, and he's a guy that I expect to be on the all-summit defensive team, and he wasn't at that level. And if he plays like he did tonight, he will be. And the rest of the stuff figured itself out with the scoring, with the assists, with the rebounds, all that stuff. But if he's not very good defensively, our press isn't very good, and we're not very good in the half court.
Yeah, 5 guys in double-digit points, just displaying the depth again as the season continues to progress. How huge is that?
It's huge. If you asked me, I couldn't name all 5 that are in double figures. I think that's the fun part about our style of play, and I think that's really going to help us as we continue to go into the year, right? I was a little bit late to the press conference because their assistant stopped me, and he's just like, man, you got guys that can drive it, you got guys that can shoot it, you got good bigs, you got a really good point guard. He's just like, you're trying to pick your poison on what you're trying to give up, and he's just like, we gave up a lot, right? So I think when you have depth, it helps because you can't just focus on one guy. Where last year, Caleb was the guy that a lot of people focused on. Lahat was very good, Boston was very good, and in stretches, other guys were very good. But when we play, I don't know who's going to be our leading scorer from night in and night out, and that's a really positive thing.
Yeah, with the Big Sky Summit Challenge, how fun is that just to add a little extra to a game?
Yeah, it's fun. I was on the scheduling committee for the Summit League, right? And they brought this up, and I'm just like, it's a no-brainer. It's hard for us to find home games, right? And it's hard to find games against like opponents, right? And I know their league has been a little bit better than us in the non-conference. And I haven't really seen the scores tonight. I don't know if anybody's looked at the scores, but I would expect us to win some of these games. I think we have some really good teams in our league that have played some tough schedules to start. So to help the Summit League, we didn't help the Summit League last year. We lost 2 games. To be able to help them at least with 1 win, and hopefully 2 going into Saturday, is a lot of fun.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys. Go Yotes.